right. Good evening, West Michigan. My name is Jonah, co-founder of West Michigan Weather, doing a quick forecast update video this evening as we have a wintry mix that is set to impact West Michigan from about late Wednesday evening through Thursday morning. All of this information contained within this video is updated as of 5:18 p.m. on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. So we'll go ahead and dive right in. So freezing rain is likely for some areas of West Michigan, and ice storm is not expected. I know I saw that word being thrown around on social media earlier this week, and I just want to clarify that an ice storm is not expected. In fact, this event continues to downtrend in terms of the significance of the impacts that we are expecting with this system. So, mixed wintry precipitation begins late Wednesday, probably sometime after 7 and maybe even after 9 o'clock in the evening. Freezing rain is the most likely precipitation type, and that will be along and south of I-94. The most likely precipitation type of sleet, snow, and freezing rain, a mixture of those three, is going to be most likely between M46 and I-94. And then we're expecting mainly snow, but you could see some sleet mixing in there along and north of M46. So, and again, impacts are expected to be minimal at this time, and the latest evening guidance on the computer weather models continues to downtrend the impacts from this event, but nonetheless, we could still see some minor impacts, some school delays or school closures Thursday. So, and we should see our wintry mix end by late Thursday morning, and then we'll see strong winds through the day on Thursday and perhaps into the overnight hours on Friday. Those could result in a few power outages. The one good thing about those winds is they'll also be affecting warm air, or moving warm air in layman's terms, and that will promote pretty effective melting of any ice and snow, especially any ice that has accreted on the power lines and trees around the region. So this is our forecasted total ice accretion amounts. So anywhere in the light blue color there, the cyan color, generally south of I-96 there, from Muskegon to Grand Rapids over to just north of Lansing there. We're anticipating a light glaze of ice, and so that's generally less than 5/100ths of an inch of ice. Still can make roads and sidewalks especially slippery, but we don't normally ever see any radial ice accumulation. And what radial ice accumulation is would be anything that accretes to the surface of the radius of a surface, so power lines, trees, anything like that, hence the name radial ice. Then, as we approach the I-94 corridor and along and east I-69 there from Lansing to Marshall, we are seeing that yellow color indicative of up to a 1/10 of an inch of ice there. Personally, I think it's going to be less than a 1/10 of an inch of ice there, and again, this evening's computer weather model guidance seems to support the idea that ice accretion is going to become less and less of a problem and be focused further and further south of Michigan here. So, and then right along the the Indiana and Ohio state lines there, we could see up to a 1/4 of an inch of ice. Personally, again, I think it's going to be much less than a 1/4 of an inch of ice, probably only to about 0.15 inches of ice or so, but it will probably be over that 1/10 of an inch of ice. So, but again, overall, this is not going to be a significant ice accumulation event. It's not going to be like the ice storms we saw a couple years ago. It's not going to be anything like that. So, just pretty minor ice accumulations are expected. In terms of snowfall, remember we're expecting some snow and sleet to mix in as well. That will be largely north of I-94 and especially north of I-96 there. Most favorable area for snow is actually even going to be north of M46, but everywhere in that white highlight there could see as much as a trace to up to 1 inch of snowfall. Again, the further north you are, the better chance you have of seeing that snowfall that's closer to 1 inch in depth. Most areas are going to see a trace or even less of snowfall. So impacts from snowfall are not expected to be anything significant either. Moving into Thursday, we are expecting some gusty winds to move into the region, probably up to about 40 or 50 miles per hour. The one thing this evening's computer weather model guidance is doing is actually increasing the wind speeds that we're expected to have, and those will start to ramp up Thursday morning, and then by noon here we're going to be seeing pretty widespread gusts up to 30, maybe even 35 miles per hour across our far northeastern zones, and then right along the lakeshore as well. So some scattered power outages are likely, and then those winds will only continue to increase through the rest of the day Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening, and perhaps into the overnight hours on Thursday into Friday morning, which could promote some additional scattered power outages. The one caveat that I think could make these winds a little bit more impactful, obviously, when we start to see winds 35 to 40 miles per hour, we start to worry about isolated power outages. But one caveat I think for this is that if we see these winds move in just a little bit earlier, or the ice stays around just a little bit later, any sort of overlap we get there where we still have that little bit of radial ice accumulation on power lines or trees, we could see some more widespread power outages than we would if we were just getting a gusty windstorm, if you will. So hopefully there will be enough warm air starting to advect into the region by this time on Thursday that will not be an issue. But it is one sort of possible scenario, an unlikely scenario, that we have some residual ice on power lines and trees as these gusty winds start to move through the area. That could support, again, some more widespread power outages, especially along and south of I-94 there. So we will be continuing to watch that. And again, those strong winds are going to be ushering in some warmer air on Thursday. Temperatures are going to get up into the mid-upper 30s. And again, this is only 1 p.m. Thursday afternoon. That's as far as this particular model goes out. Those temperatures will probably continue to rise by at least a couple of degrees as we go into Thursday afternoon. And once again, this is going to promote very effective ice melt. So there's not going to be a lot of ice. There's not going to be a lot of snow to begin with. And when we start to see temperatures rise above freezing into the mid-upper 30s, that will melt that little bit of ice and snow very quickly. So roads should get really clear really fast, and any ice that does remain on those power lines is going to melt really fast as well. So providing we don't see those winds mix in too early, I don't expect many power outages, if any. So Thursday and Friday, school closing potential. This is our day 2 school closing outlook. This is valid for Thursday, February 6th. And this is based on snow, ice, and wind. And I do think that school closings are unlikely at this point. I will probably trim this outlook down even further for the day 1 outlook that will come out tomorrow evening. But this is my preliminary thinking here for Thursday. Any school closings that do occur will likely be along and south of I-94. And we could see very, very isolated school closings due to power outages south of or north of I-94 there, just due to those strong winds, especially if those winds continue to increase closer to that 50 mile per hour mark like models this evening are indicating. But overall, I think school closing potential, school delay potential is really low for Thursday. And then in terms of Friday, we will have to wait and see what happens with the winds overnight Thursday before we get an idea of any school closure potential for Friday that could be caused by those scattered power outages. So, whoops, and that's not supposed to be in there twice. Apologize. So if you guys would not mind just following those social media links there on your screen, giving us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, join our Discord server, participate in our wonderful community discussions. Make sure you're subscribed to us here on YouTube, and we will be providing updates for you across all of West Michigan for every winter weather and severe weather system that comes through. Take care, guys, and stay safe.